Hey guys, it's me Rebecca. So I'm here today to do my October wrap up as well discuss a book I'm planning to read in November so far. Everything else I read in November will be my November wrap up. So yeah, let's get started with the first book I was able to finish in October, which was Phantom of the Opera by Gaston Leroux. And this is about the legendary rumors of an opera ghost takes on a terrifying reality when the beautiful young singer, Christine Day, suddenly disappears after her triumph performance. An ever-increasing pattern of fear and violence pervades the dim backstage areas of the opera house as the phantom threatens to strike once more. And with this one we see how the phantom or the ghost, he just appears out of nowhere. People do see him and how he is determined to have this specific box all to himself, like scaring away others who might occupy the box. And we see how the previous managers of the opera house, they did try to warn the new ones, yet they didn't take the warning seriously, thinking it is a joke. And Christine, it seems like, sold her soul to the ghost as he claims it belongs to him and she won't love him, and how it causes issues in her other relationships and prevents her from wanting to perform. And she also thinks he is an angel of music, her father sent. And we see how he will do anything to hear her sing an opera, and he claims he loves her through. Christine seems afraid of him, and the fact he'll hurt people to get to her, preventing her from being with, well, who she loves. And I couldn't help but feel sorry for the phantom ghost, whose name is Eric, as he was someone who just wanted to be loved when no one else, even his mother, loved him due to his face. It seems like he has some deformity or something that just prevents people from loving him. So yeah, overall this was a fun time. I liked it. I did feel sorry for the ghost or phantom, and I gave it 4 stars. The next book I was able to finish in October was The Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Long. And this is about Hollow, who is an immigrant fortune teller traveling between villages with just her trusty meal for company. She tells only small fortunes, whether it will hail next week, which boy the barmaid will kiss, when a cow will calve. She knows from bitter experience that big fortunes come with big consequences. Even if it's a lonely life, it's better than the one she left behind. But a small fortune unexpectedly becomes something more when a semi-reformed thief and an ex-mercenary recruit her into their desperate search for a lost child. Soon they're joined by a baker with a need for adventure and, of course, a slightly magical cat. Tayo starts down a new path with her companions, as big-hearted as her fortunes are small. But as she lowers her walls, the shadows of her past close in, and she'll have to decide whether to risk everything to preserve the family she never thought she could have. And with this one, we see the racism that Tayo has to deal with by others because of the actions the country her family came from, how she has to face the prejudice and the hatred just because of her race, and how it affects her ability to stay in one place for a long time, as people will distrustful of her, knowing their secrets because of her race and her gender. And we see a Tayo who has never had someone on her side since her father's death is able to find people who accept her for who she is without judgment, and how she finds a family of her own, and how she will do anything to help them and protect them, even if it is doing something she didn't necessarily want to do. Overall, I liked this. I thought it was fine, but I just gave it 3 stars. And the next book I was able to finish in October was My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Otessa Marstring. And this is about our narrator, who should be happy, shouldn't she? She's young, thin, pretty, a recent Columbia graduate, works an easy job at the hip art gallery, lives in an apartment on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, paid for, like the rest of her needs, by her inheritance. But there is a hole in her heart, and it isn't just the loss of her parents, or the way her Wall Street boyfriend treats her, or her sadomasochistic relationship with her best friend. It's the year 2000, in a city aglitter with wealth and possibility. What could be so terribly wrong? And with this one, oh my word, that narrator is just so intolerable. She wants to sleep her life away, to start refresh. She's someone who's extremely privileged, as she has an inheritance from her parents, and beautiful in society standards with being tall, blonde, thin, just pretty. And though she did have a complicated relationship with her parents, she still has, in the eyes of society, her best friend only is like, oh, but you're so thin, you should be grateful for it, when the best friend's also quite slim. Yeah, so I would say trigger warning for dog of eating disorder, or I don't know, because the friend just cares about being as thin as her. And we see how the people around her, that is not good for her. A friend who worries about being perfect in the eyes of society and enacts who doesn't treat her well. And she is also seeing a doctor purposely who is questionable in her ways of practice, and who she lies to get the pills in. We see her spiraling during this year, doing stuff in her sleep that she doesn't remember, such as shopping, partying, messaging people, and just falling apart in general, and it's just a mess. And then by the end she claims that she got her life together, but I don't know, it seems like she's wandering, not endlessly, but directionlessly. That's even a word, but she doesn't know where her life's going. She's just figuring it out. But yeah, overall, I gave this 4 stars. The next book I was able to finish in October was A Taste of Golden Iron by Alexandria Wolin. And this is about Kadu, who is the shy prince of Ersat, who finds himself at odds with one of the most powerful ambassadors at court, the body father of the queen's new child, in an altercation that results in his humiliation. To prove his loyalty to the queen, his sister, Kadu takes responsibility for the investigation of a break-in at one of their guilds, with the help of his newly appointed bodyguard, the coldly handsome Evemir, who seems to tolerate him at best. In Arsat, where princes can touch these precious metals with their fingers, myth one side by side with history, counterfeiting is hearsay. In the conspiracy they discover could cripple the kingdom's financial standing and bring about its ruin. And with this one, we see how Evemir, he has to accept the prince for who he is instead of who he expected him to be. How the prince is this anxiety-ridden person who considers himself a coward, and yeah, there's more to him and his knowledge, and how Evemir, he isn't good with his words and doesn't know how to use them when needed, and how he starts to grow to care more for who the prince actually is and his complexities. And I did like there's a marriage of convenience for I guess in here, and they know they will have to annul the marriage because of the fact Kadu is the prince and Evemir is his bodyguard, so Kadu, with his status as the prince, he'll probably be used as a pawn, or is expected to marry someone where it will be good for his kingdom. So there's that, but overall I enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun with this, and I gave it 4 stars. The next book I was able to finish in October was Uncharmed by Lucy Jane Wood. And this is about Annie Wildwood, who is the perfect witch. She is sugar, spice, and everything nice. Each element of her life finely curated and polished to irresistibly by her nightly hacks-laced potion routine. She loves to please and keep everyone around her completely happy. When Annie's coven tasks her with guiding a orphan teenage witch through the process of getting her blossoming magical powers under control, Annie is excited for the chance to prove herself. But the ramshackle cottage that they'll be housed in isn't quite the staycation of Annie's dreams, and she and Maeve, the headstrong teen, couldn't be more different. Thus, when they're starting to understand each other, the owner of the cottage unexpectedly returns, and this quietly gruff and handsome warlock is not happy to find that the coven volunteered his house to a high-maintenance witch and her angsty teen companion. As this seemingly unlikely trio develops a loyalty and fondness for one another, Annie slowly learns that her people-pleasing may have led her down an impossible, lonely path. If everything about her is so right, why does it feel so wrong? And with this we see how Annie, she just thinks she has to be perfect at all times. It's almost like an armor, I would say. It's as if she shows a hint of imperfection, things will fall apart, and she'll be seen. This is her upbringing where her father made mistakes and life fell apart, and she is trying to establish the life she desires, and when she has it, she realizes it's not the life she actually wanted, that she wants the life with Maeve and with Hell. And she will have to try and when the life she wants comes after the life she needs, or the life she actually wants, she will have to choose which life she really wants. So yeah, overall I had a lot of fun with this and I gave it 5 stars. And the next book I was able to finish in October was An Academy for Liars by Alexis Henderson. And this is about Leon Carter's life is falling apart. Then she gets a mysterious phone call inviting her to take the entrance exam for Dayton College, a school of magic hidden in a secret pocket of Savannah. Leon has been chosen because, like everyone else at the school, she has the innate gift of persuasion, the ability to wield her will like a weapon, using it to control others and, in rare cases, matter itself. After passing the test, Leon begins to learn how to master her devastating and unsettling powers. Despite persuasion's heavy toll on her body and her mind, she is wholly captivated by her studies, by Dayton's lush, moss-draped campus, and by her brilliant classmates. But even more captivating is her charismatic advisor, Dante, who both intimidates her and enthralls her. As Leon continues in her studies and her control grows, and she starts to uncover more about the secret world she has entered into, including the disquieting history of Dayton College, she is increasingly disturbed by what she learns, for it seems that the ultimate test is to embrace absolute power without succumbing to corruption, and it's a test she's terrified she's going to fail. And with this one, we see how Leon and the others, they're able to escape their lives where they're not happy or given a chance to be as successful as politicians and corporate heads, and how they're being taught the art of persuasion, and we see what happens when they overuse the power, and how Leon has this ability no one has had since the school was founded, and how she is able to figure out how to do it and what is expected of her when she learns this power. And we see her being afraid of what she can do and what power she has, and of herself. And as well what is expected of her by the vice chancellor of the school, who, there is a gate preventing the school from being seen by the outside world, and the gate is falling, and it is up to Leon to prevent escape from falling in the school being exposed to the outside world. And yeah. And overall, I personally didn't really connect with the characters of this. It was intriguing and I definitely liked the writing style, but I just didn't really feel anything, so I ended up giving it. And the last book I was able to finish in October was Jacoby by William Whitter. And this is about newly arrived in New Fitterham, New England in 1892 and in need of a job. Abigail Wook meets R.F. Jacoby, an investigator of the explained with a keen eye for the extraordinary, including the ability to see supernatural beings. Abigail has a gift for noticing ordinary but important details, which makes her perfect for the position of Jacoby's assistant. On her first day, Abigail finds herself in the midst of a thrilling case. A serial killer is on the loose. The police are convinced it's an ordinary villain, but Jacoby is certain that foul deeds are the work of the kind of creature whose very existence the local authorities, with the expectation of a handsome young detective named Charlie Kane, seem adamant to deny. And we see with this one how really it's just them trying to solve this case and how things are getting out of hand at times, and Jacoby just being very much like a Shakespeare character in a sense. He is brilliant, but he doesn't have the people skills and he accidentally offends people. Jacoby is someone who I would say is extremely eccentric, and his house and study shows that character in him, how he's someone who's extremely curious and who his roommates, which is a ghost and a duck, well, a human that was turned into a duck, don't seem to really appreciate it. And with Abigail, we see that she is running away from society's expectations of what she should do and how she should look like as a woman. How it is looked down upon that she is to spend time with Jacoby, who a lot of people think is just a crazy man. So overall, I just had a lot of fun with this and I gave it 4 stars. And now, that is everything I read in October and what I plan to read in November. So far, again, everything goes I read in November will be in my November wrap-up, but I am gonna start The Monk by Matthew Lewis. And this is about the Ambrosio, who is tempted into a world of incest, murder, and torture by a young girl who has concealed herself in his monastery disguised as a boy. As Ambrosio spirals into how the reader encounters an array of haunting characters: the innocent virgin, the bleeding nun, the wandering Jew, and evil powers, and Lucifer himself. So yeah, I'm very much intrigued about this. I've heard some people talk about it, so I wanted to give it a shot. So yeah. Now that is everything I read in October and what I read in November. Well, I plan to read in November. So yeah, that's it for now. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment below telling me what you're currently reading. If you want to, please subscribe to this channel. And if you want to follow me on any social media, then all those links are in the down bar below. I'll see you guys next time I post a video. Bye.